guys? Why do I always do this? And I'm wearing 2 fitness watches like a douchebag. So I know that this video is not going to appeal to the masses today, which is fine, but this is still a huge part of my life and in all honesty, a kind of big portion of my career right now, and I'm really proud of it. So I wanted to share my experience. And also I do get questions quite frequently asking about like what the NTA process was like. What does it mean to be an NTP? If I would recommend it, if I enjoyed it, so on and so forth. I stopped by my local coffee shop. I briefly touched on this, I can't remember, either on Instagram or YouTube. And initially when I was doing some continuing education and kind of deciding like what else I wanted to do in terms of nutrition and just like thinking longevity wise, I had thought that I wanted to become a registered dietitian, and there was a couple of reasons that kept me back from that. One, I actually met a registered dietitian here in Iowa. She was one of my training clients at the gym. She was a member of the gym for a while, and she had let me shadow her and watch her work, and I basically just got to pick her brain, ask her a ton of questions. And after knowing her for about a year, I ultimately decided that doing what registered dietitians do, and again, this is in Iowa, so I'm sure it's different state by state, but registered dietitians in Iowa just, I'm just gonna be honest, it just didn't really align. Oh, wow. Oh, that's fantastic. Obviously, like, that's just one person, but she did really sway my opinion. And I don't know. I mean, it was for the better, obviously, but a lot of the registered dietitians, like 90% of them, work in a clinical setting. And that's just not something that I see myself doing for a couple of reasons. And 2, unfortunately, the registered dietitian world, and again, this is just from what I've experienced and what I've seen, is outdated in a lot of areas. I personally don't want to be a registered dietitian who puts somebody on like 1,000-calorie diet meal plan deficit because they're severely overweight and need to be approved for weight loss surgery. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, a lot of registered dietitians, especially when just starting out, they do that. I'm in a very fortunate position to already have a client base with Black Iron Nutrition. I've been doing nutrition coaching for a long time now, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do to further that. When I started having some GI issues, which I will do a video on that soon. I know I haven't done it yet, but I literally just started taking all my medication, so I have to give you the updates. But anyway, traditional Western medicine was just not doing me any favors, in all honesty, and I was really struggling with my GI doctors. I saw 4 of them when I lived in Florida. My primary care physician, in all honesty, was a creep. I'm just gonna say it is what it is. And I felt so uncomfortable in his office, and I didn't want to keep going to get different testing and getting referrals from him and seeing him. So I just honestly stopped going to him altogether when I was in Florida. Then I met my current NTP, Meg, and basically she was the one that introduced me to the world of nutritional therapy practitioners. Prior to that, I had no idea, but I wanted to work with her to figure out what my underlying gut problems were, because every single time I would see a GI doctor, he just wanted to put me on PPIs, and I refused to drink the contrast drink for the scan, so I didn't end up getting a scan. She basically introduced me, and the best way that I can explain it to you guys is that nutritional therapy practitioners are holistic nutritionists that try to address the underlying causes of symptoms and concerns that clients may have that are not treating medical problems. Like, I can't do what a registered dietitian does. I also have more knowledge and understanding of the body's foundational properties now than I did just being a regular nutritionist. So there's only one certified nutritional therapy association. It's just the NTA, and the program is an 11-month program, and it is $6,700 with textbooks and everything. It came out to about $7,000. You can do a payment plan to split up like quarterly payments, but that was the total cost and the total time. It was a lot of work. Like, in all honesty, it was just as, if not more intensive than regular undergrad for me. And I did a lot of my undergrad work online as well, just because I'm antisocial and hated going to school. This was so much homework. Not only do we have the live Zooms every week, we had a lot of very intensive homework, and it was not like homework where you just, you know, write your 1-sentence answer and submit it. You had to have mock clients, you had to analyze other clients' intake paperwork. Just the nutritional assessment questionnaire that each new client submits is 350 questions. From there, you get what's called a symptom burden graph, which essentially just kind of breaks down all the different systems in your body essentially, and pinpoints where there might be some concern. So like you have some things on there for like small intestine, large intestine, gallbladder, liver, adrenals, all that kind of stuff. It was a very analytical process, and not just like, oh, okay, I have to do this calculation and do this person's macros and then move on. This was much more in depth, very detailed. Every single assignment, every project, every PDF, we had to do a lot of graphics. I had to make a lot of like packets and things like that. The professors really cared. Like they wanted you to understand. They were always there to answer your questions, which I will say that was one of the big perks of it. Like you really got to know your professors via the live Zooms every week, but also like you could communicate with them very easily. And they just wanted you to really understand it. There's no like half-assing this program, if you will. You can't just like not read the textbooks and wing it. You can't just guess on the exam. Even the final exam we had to do live on Zoom, which was recorded, and then they like made you show your desk and you couldn't get out of the Zoom window, so you couldn't cheat and all that stuff. So like if you are looking to continue your nutritional certifications, this is not just like a precision nutrition cert, and which I have that one as well, and that one's definitely a much shorter, much more like first step into the nutrition world. But this is not that. This is definitely on a different level. Just fine. Like I just honestly didn't know that going into it. I figured it was going to be a lot of work considering it was 11 months long, but I just didn't realize how much time I would be putting into it. And I will say there were times throughout the year where I was just like, I literally don't know how I can keep doing this. It was so much work. With that being said, I did learn so much, and I really feel like it has helped me as a nutrition coach, but also just within my own body, which is really cool. So essentially, being an NTP means that I can help you with your foundational imbalances. I can recommend specific, more holistic supplements. I have a better handle now on like getting to the root cause of the problem when someone has a very specific symptom that, you know, for example, like the antacid for me, just using myself as an example. Most people would be like, oh, or most doctors rather would be like, you know, here's your antacid and move along with your day. But in my specific case, like I had kind of briefly mentioned before, there was a lot of dysbiosis going on. I have H. pylori again. There was just so much other stuff going on that I felt as though I kept getting put Band-Aids on, and just more Band-Aids and more Band-Aids, and I really needed to figure out what was going on underneath. So that's kind of like the goal of the NTPs in general, is that we want to be able to get to the person's underlying problems, if you will, address those as holistically and naturally as possible if you can, and then work from there. I really enjoy that part of it because I personally didn't want to go on medication, prescription medication for my gut and all this other stuff that they wanted me to take. So I don't know, I really liked it, but I just wanted to give my experience because it is not just like, oh, a nutrition cert that I just took for fun. Like, I mean, yes, I did kind of take it for fun, but it definitely was not just like an easy thing to just like put under my belt. So take that for what it's worth. But when you're seeing this, I will have already done my Zoom graduation, which is really cool. And then I'll have my little thing that comes in the mail. Obviously, I feel like this goes without saying, but being an NTP does not replace going to a doctor. Like we don't have obviously as much experience, education, training, and all that stuff as a traditional Western medicine doctor. At the end of the day, I feel like being an NTP is kind of like the in-between of like where I started, and then there's a ton of other like nutrition certifications, but like in terms of like nutritionist, then registered dietitian, like NTP is like the holistic middle of that, which I really enjoy. So that is the reason why I decided to pursue it, but it was very long, it was expensive, it was mentally draining, I will not lie. And now I'm an NTP, so you know, I think I'm gonna take a break. I think I'm gonna take a break from continuing education. I do really feel like my brain is just like when that final exam was over, I was just, and I had a final presentation that I had to present to my professors and then 4 other classmates. And I was just like, when it was over, it was like such a weight lifted off my shoulders. I was so happy. Anywho, I'm excited about it. I can now add that to my Instagram bio. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I just wanted to give you an update on that, let you know, because I've gotten so many questions asking like, what's NTP? Why did you do it? Blah, blah, blah. So that is why, and I hope that answers your questions. Of course, if you have any others, you can always hit me in the comments section. And that is a wrap for today's quick little video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting me during this time. I love you so, so, so much. And that's all I have. So I'll see you in my next one.